Post-game live. You got the Celtics falling this one 104-91 to the Milwaukee Bucks. And their final road game of the regular season. Tom Giles, Scal, we got Eddie House with us as well. And, we can talk about this game, but obviously the biggest thing that everyone's going to be discussing is Giannis coming down in the third quarter, leaving with that calf injury. And the early reports are that it's a calf strain for Giannis, but certainly something to keep an eye on because that's obviously you never want to lose a superstar in the NBA.
You guys got to remember last year, Giannis gets hurt against Miami, and they lose against Miami, the 1-8 seed. Just for me, the first thing I thought about was another 6'11" freak of nature who made a shot over P.J. Tucker and jogging back, and all of a sudden his pulled up limp grabbed his exactly the same area, and that was when Kevin Durant strained his calf the first time against the Houston Rockets in the playoffs. Well, listen, I don't want no injuries for any player out there, but when Kevin Durant returned and he played in the NBA Finals, he made one explosive move on Kawhi Leonard, and he popped his Achilles tendon, and you guys know the rest from there. He took some time off and all that stuff, but it just was an odd non-contact injury. Just watch, it's just a simple play. He wasn't limping, wasn't favoring, and then all of a sudden he's on the ground grabbing, his leg. So I thought immediately, I don't think he popped his Achilles. That's not what I thought when I saw that. That's usually not how it works. Yeah. I thought, man, that looks very similar to the Kevin Durant injury back in 2019.
Yeah, and again, this came in the third quarter, and you saw him leave, and at first you wondered, is this just a cramp as he left and came back? But it was about midway through the fourth quarter that we found out that reports were there was a calf strain, so that's where it stands at this point. Now, Milwaukee at 48-31, they got 3 games left in the regular season, and, without knowing the extent of the injury, you would think that you're probably not going to see Giannis for the rest of the regular season.
No way.
But obviously, you got the playoffs coming up in a couple weeks here, and as we've discussed, there's no easy first-round opponents.
Yeah, it's 10 days. It's 10 days minimum of what he would have to before they probably play. And, they got the best medical in the world and what they do, all the NBA, all the professional places. So they can get that thing firing, and it could be different. But there are so many degrees of a calf strain, but it's just the way that he went down and grabbed it and the look on his face. If I'm a Buck fan, I would have to be concerned about that.
All right. The Bucks do get the win, though, 104-91. We got Eddie now. And, Eddie, what was going through your mind as you kind of watched that all unfold?
Well, when you see it, non-contact and the way you're touching and grabbing on your calf, a lot of times it does feel like it's okay. I've never had an Achilles injury, but for the people that have it, they always say something, either it felt like something kicked them, something hit them, or it's possibly their calf. But it could be something a little bit more major. I hope that he's okay and it's not to that extreme, because I never want to see players get hurt. I never want to see nobody go out like that. I always want to play teams at their full strength. It's just something that you just got to watch out for and be careful of, because like Scal was saying, when Kevin Durant came back, it instantly went right to the Achilles. So all of those things are connected. Those soft tissues or those muscles are connected in every which way. So you do have to be careful. They do have time, 10 days, but it might take longer than that. Hopefully he's okay and he'll get back on the court.
Yeah, and again, it's, over the last 2 decades, it's been about the non-contact injuries that have been the scary ones. You watch guys competing at high levels and everything else, but it's when you see a guy go down with a non-contact injury that's really just.
No, that's because, Tom, if you go down with a non-contact injury, normal. I know that you trip around and fall everywhere you go, but athletes don't just fall down. So when we use the
I get that. What I'm trying to say is.
Yeah, when you're an athlete jogging and you fall, that's like, wait a minute, something's wrong here. But if I get ran over and I fall, there ain't nothing wrong with that. You understand what I'm saying?
I do. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm saying that it's more alarming when you see a guy go down with a non-contact injury.
Because you shouldn't fall if you're a professional athlete. That's why.
Correct. I am aware of that. If and when we hear anything else coming out of the locker room, we'll let you know as soon as possible. But, yeah, the early reports from Shams and from Woj coming shortly after what we saw there with Giannis going down in the third quarter. And, again, the initial reports are that it's a calf strain. So any more information we get on that, we will give you. Meanwhile, Milwaukee gets the win, and it all goes back, I think, to that first quarter when you saw them just Brook Lopez coming out of the gate, going 4 or 5 from 3, Eddie.
Yeah, they came out shooting lights out, but it was one of those games, like I say, mindset. You had to have your mind locked in. And I think that at this point, the Celtics understand that they are just playing. They're waiting for who to see who they play in the playoffs, right? It's not about anything else except who do we play next? Let's not get hurt. And let's just go out there and finish these games. You know, a lot of teams are 1, 2, 3 Cancun, and right now we like 1, 2, 3 playoffs. Let's get the playoffs started already. And so you might have a game like this, especially when you're going against a team that has a lot to prove, that's been in the news, that's been on the forefront of everybody's they're leading every show. What's wrong with the Bucks? It was a perfect storm for them. You know what I mean? For the Milwaukee Bucks to protect their home court and beat the Celtics. And that's what it was. We didn't have 2 of our guys. That's not no slight, because other guys need to step up. We're going to need those things. But at the same time, we're looking down the road. We're not looking right now. And the Milwaukee Bucks need every single game because they're still trying to prove themselves in this league because people still doubt them.
Yeah, a lot of people doubt them. And I just think, like, for us, like, it wouldn't benefit us to go in there and go full tilt and show all the different defenses that you're going to throw at Giannis and all the different defenses are you going to trap Damian Lillard. I just think you go into that game and say, all right, we're going to try some things, maybe do some misdirection. I don't know if the Bucks would even watch this game and say, this is what the Celtics did to us. I think for them, it's all about just keeping your cards close to the vest. Let those guys do what they do. If you make a bunch of shots, if they miss some shots, you'll win this game. But it's probably smart. And I think the Celtics looked at this year, probably had their eye on Miami, probably had their eye on Milwaukee from the start. And then as the season unfolds, you can start looking at the Knicks or maybe Philly at times. But you're looking at these teams saying, all right, these are the teams that we got to play. These are the teams that we got to take care of business. These are the teams that we want to keep on their heels. And if you go out and show anything today, when you don't have to, when you have that big lead, I don't think they're ever going to. I think you were right, Tom, earlier about Celtics being dogs by 3.5. You probably the way the Celtics probably went into this game is probably the right way for their long-term approach.